In today's video, I'm going to be managing, repotting, and sharing some crucial care tips when it comes to caring for your Begonia Maculata. Mine is right here, kind of arching over me. It definitely needs some support stakes in it. It has some now, but this thing is just growing like crazy. I haven't really had a chance to care for it like I should be. It is at least 5 or 6 feet tall now, believe it or not, some of the stakes, and there's just a lot of growth, and I'm having a hard time managing it in its current container. So I wanna repot it up in this container here and provide some more support. Obviously, I will be sharing some really important crucial care tips along the way, some interesting tips that I've learned and some things that I do now that I wasn't doing before that really definitely make a big difference when it comes to taking care of this particular house plant. So if you give me a second, I will kind of rearrange this, bring this to the front so you can get an idea of what it's currently looking like, and then we can get started in repotting it and talking about all that other great stuff too. I'm not sure if you can actually see this entire plant. You can probably see most of it. If I actually like kind of crouch down, you might be able to see all the way to the top. So this thing is huge, and I think my mic's just fallen off, so let me readjust that. Be right back. Well, okay, got my mic readjusted. I think you guys are getting the idea. This thing is getting pretty big, and I have it in a smaller container, so I haven't really been doing it any favors. I do have quite a large container that doesn't unfortunately have any drainage, so I'll have to mitigate for that, but having a bigger container with lots of stakes should really be fine. I'm not too worried about a buildup or overwatering because I'm very conscientious, obviously, with all the houseplants I have and for how long I've had this, and I kind of know what I'm doing at this point, so I'm not too worried. But if you are a novice or you're just getting started, having a drainage hole and a smaller container is probably best because you don't want to, backlog any water, even though these do like continual moisture, but better safe than sorry. So let's get started on repotting this, and I can share exactly what I'll be using. Thanks for checking out this video. I'm Tyler. If you like what you're seeing or you find this video to be useful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, or better yet, you can hit that subscribe button. Now, to really show me some love, click on the bell for alerts and notifications for future content. Oh yeah, don't forget to check out my merch store, tylermossop.com. So today I'm going to be using basically a combination of 2 mixtures of soil. And basically 1-to-1 is the ratio that I'll be using. So in the first soil mix, it's basically mostly composted, what am I trying to say? Composted pine bark with some perlite. And then the other pre-mix is some peat moss, perlite, and that kind of thing. So basically by using these 2 mixes together at a 1-to-1 ratio, I'm providing some chunkiness with that bark, which will allow for some good drainage and aeration. But also with this other mix, it's going to have a little bit more of some retention properties, which will be good for this because, like I already mentioned, these plants, the Begonia Maculata, do like that continual sort of light moisture in their soil. So by using this, it should be a really good mix. Plus, you could go ahead and use some other grittiness, which would be fine. But because this container is large and I'll be using a large amount, I'm just going to be keeping it simple and using this combination. This thing is really about to fall over. But I did go ahead and put about 1 inch worth of leca, those little terracotta balls, at the base of this. Now, like I mentioned, there's no drainage hole in here, so by doing something like that, or you could go ahead and use some horticultural charcoal, put a little base layer at the bottom that will help with absorbing any excess moisture, or with the leca, just provide a little bit of a barrier if there's any water buildup at the base of the container. But now let's see if I can let this go for a second. All right, perfect. Now I'm gonna go ahead and fill up the base of this container with that soil mixture that I put together, and then I'll be ready to transplant this very carefully. But I'm really excited to see what it looks like when it's all you know, potted up and staked up correctly, and then we can go over those care tips. So let's kind of mix this up carefully so I'm not getting anything on my computer. Let's close that up. All right, so another couple of mixes, and then very carefully. It might even be easier to mix it up. All right, and I think I'm gonna need to mix up a little bit more to fill this up just a tad more before putting the plant on. So let me do that first, and then I'll show you the actual transplant part. All right, so good thing there's tall ceilings in this room because, as you guys know, this is pretty crazy. Yeah, so this is actually a really good height. Now I just need to somehow take the nursery pot out. So let's see, this shouldn't be too difficult. Yes. And I think I had more luck at the base of this container as well. All right, so, ta-da. So that actually came out really nicely. Nice, healthy roots. It is looking a little bit dry in here. So I did know that I was gonna be transplanting this. So I had held off a little bit from water, but I didn't realize I held off that much. So that's kind of something to take note of. The other thing is I do like to fill up the containers first before using the stakes and putting the stakes in. I just feel like I get a firmer stake. So basically what I'm going to do is put that in there like so. Put together some more of my soil mixture, fill that around the edges, and then we'll be able to remove the current stakes and put in some new ones, reuse the ones we have here, and just do a better job of staking this up and getting some of these big canes to kind of shoot upwards. So once again, let me mix some of this stuff up and then I'll be right back. So now it's finally kind of nicely fitted into this new container, nice and snug, with that soil mix kind of all nicely surrounding it. I did go ahead and kind of just gently but firmly push down on that soil just to keep everything nice and snug. Now I haven't yet removed any of the previous stakes because they are this plant is dependent on them right now, and I'm basically going to have to add some other stakes first and then kind of go bit by bit rearranging. But this is a great opportunity to take off any of the dead leaves, and we can start sort of covering some of these crucial care tips as I'm going through and staking this up. Another thing that I've noticed is I actually do have some like these little side shoots here. They are exactly that. They're side shoots that are coming out of a main sort of cane. So these things may not need staking just because, like I said, they're kind of branching out. But some of these main sort of more vertical canes just need a little bit more support, and there's some that are kind of leaning over that look like they're side ones, like this one back here, which is actually you know, supposed to be kind of going upright. But back to those crucial care tips. Now when it comes to some of the leaves drying out, if this is something that you're seeing more often than not, or I'm not sure if I have any examples of this right now, but something like this, I'm not sure if you can see this leaf here, it's kind of getting a little bit dried out at the base. Now sometimes if you're seeing that, it could be because you're not letting your water sit out overnight or for a couple of days before watering it. What happens by doing that is the water just by sitting out overnight or for a day or two just kind of releases some of the weird, you know, this isn't very scientific, but by letting it sit out, some of these things in the water can evaporate out, and you can avoid those browning tips. You know, I don't know the science behind it, but I know that as a strategy, it works very well, especially if you have like tap water. We're on a well, and I still find by letting it sit out overnight or for a day or two that it still basically helps with that. I have a lot less of those browning tips, but you can go ahead and remove any dead foliage if that ever does occur. These guys are a little bit different than your Rex begonia. They do like best bright indirect light. However, if they are receiving some direct light, I do give mine a little bit of direct light. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. There may be a little bit of a period where they have to adjust to that direct light, but again, it really shouldn't be an issue. I do fertilize mine, and I like to use a liquid fertilizer. I haven't fertilized this in a while just because I think the last time I did fertilize it, it just kind of exploded and went crazy. So I've kind of, taken a step back from fertilizing. I've covered water a couple of times already. So just watering this, making sure that the soil is constantly moist. You can do that by just kind of touching the topsoil. If it's dry whatsoever, then give it a little bit of water. I think a plant like this appreciates a little bit of water every day as opposed to like a huge deluge, every couple of days. So more about being constant and consistent with watering. And I think that covers it. You guys know what I used for my soil mix here so that it can basically, like I said, have drainage, but retain on and hold on to some of that moisture. And I think that's most of it. If I can think of anything else while I'm re-staking this, then I'll let you guys know. But I'm gonna grab some bamboo stakes and start to stake this up. So just give me a second and I'll get my stakes and then we can start to do that. It's a little bit more complicated than I was thinking. So I do have this kind of green, I think it's like 3 or 4 feet tall stake that I was currently using along with some bamboo stakes right down in the middle. And I'm just starting to remove some of these other, some of the plant that's being attached with the Velcro from this stake. I'm just trying to see where things are kind of weaving, but these 2 really tall canes here, I just want to kind of see if I can attach these to the top of this stake so that they don't fall over while I'm trying to do the rest of it. But of course, this isn't long enough. All right, I think I have like a twist tie thing here, which isn't ideal, but just to do for the time being. All right. Oh God. Okay, so not ideal, but at least I think that's stable for the time being. So like this one here, I feel like this should also be kind of upward. The other great thing about, when you're staking up a plant like this, if the leaves will kind of over time will readjust their orientation towards the light and be a little bit more upright. But I think this one also just kind of needs to be up here like this. Let's see. I don't typically like to use twist ties. I can't find any more of my Velcro, but I think with a plant like this and the fact that it is more of a cane, I'm a little bit less worried, but this will just have to do for now. Oh my goodness. All right, so let's see if that kind of does anything. All right. Yeah, see, and then here's this other one that really needs some support. No idea what this is looking like, but I think this is gonna be better. This one I should be able to use the Velcro. All right, let's see. All right, bear with me, guys. All right, let's see, this should work. Maybe this one needs its own separate. There we go. Okay. Like I said, these 3 here are side shoots, and I think that just leaves this one over on the side. And if I can find a way to bring this one up, then might have just done it. I think this is also going to need to get attached to this sort of central stake. All right, let's see. Oh, this might just work. All right, so I hope that's looking a little bit better. I'm gonna come back and I'm just gonna take a look from the front and see what it is, and then share any final thoughts about the Begonia Maculata. So actually that took a little bit longer than I was hoping for. We actually had to, my husband and I, Jeff, dismantle everything because there was one cane that was kind of weaved throughout a whole bunch of other ones that was all the way back here that I didn't even see that needed to be staked up. So kind of dismantled things, brought them back together. This is still not really ideal. I think that in about 4 or 5, 6 months time, this is definitely going to need repotted again. Part of the joy of houseplants is when you do repot things, you're giving them more opportunity to get bigger and grow taller and bigger. So, you know, exciting to have these huge, large plants, but also it just becomes a lot more maintenance and care and fun kind of staking them up like this. So I think the next time I'm at my local nursery, I need to pick up a couple more of these 5-foot cedar stakes, because this guy is just turning into quite the centerpiece. And if I had, you know, maybe 3 of these cedar stakes, I could kind of separate them and have more independent, distinct, you know, canes coming up each one of them, and it would just look better. Also, that would support each of the leaves getting more light and that kind of thing. So this is kind of like a temporary solution, I guess I'm saying, but I'm also just really happy. This is one of my favorite houseplants, and I'm just really glad that it's happy and continuing to really just grow and thrive. So definitely check out some of the other videos that I've made when it comes to caring for your Begonia Maculata. I'll throw up the link right up here, or I'll be sure to add that in the description as well. Leave a comment down below, ask questions. I'm happy to help you guys out, especially when it comes to any of the house plants that I've done videos on or that I currently have in my home. But yeah, glad this is kind of a little bit better than it was before. Not quite perfect, but it's still pretty happy. Well, that's it for me. Definitely give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you aren't already subscribed to my channel. Miss you guys already. Until the next one.